Okay, so this is live, huh? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Who's watching this now? Whoever watched this, I'm not saying that anyone's watching this now because it's my first YouTube video ever that I ever like just talked. I posted stuff after I made it, but you get the point. Anyway, I've had a very interesting journey in terms of education and being able to go to school for free. Yay! Thank you, God. And finish my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. There are a few classes that I hope to forget. Really, only one. But there are a whole lot of classes that I really enjoyed during my college career, and there's one in particular. It just happens to be a sociology class, sociology 400 to be exact. I'm going to read my paper. It's short. It's not a long essay. And it regards, or it involves, excuse me, the current state of affairs and just my thoughts. None of this stuff is law. It's just my thoughts about these things. Okay. Okay. So the topic for this assignment is based on the challenges as well as the benefits of changing the ways in which America has disregarded basic, supposedly inalienable rights for equality for African Americans. America's historically variable definition of equality among the different ethnic backgrounds of its residents have always been an issue that causes people in this country to choose sides. Yeah, I'm basically what I'm saying is it's systematic. Some people act like it's not. It's systematic. While politics have always played a pivotal role in changing how the policies in this country in which we live are derived from laws, it's more about the social and economic goals of this society, right? Those in control of this society that tend to have the greatest effect upon the outcomes, both intended and unintended. I will analyze three likely challenges and three benefits to proposed changes to the racial climate of our nation from the legal, political, and socioeconomic perspectives. The United States of America should publicly apologize and make reparations available to all of the descendants of the African American slave trade. One could make the argument that all of the descendants whose ancestors were killed, like Native Americans, put into concentration camps, like Japanese Americans, or tortured on United States soil, but no other race received the kind of treatment and then disregard at the hands of the white man, like the African slaves and their descendants. Add, quote, and were not given anything for it but distance and hard pressed opportunities with no immediate monetary value to that sentence. Yeah. No other race in history has been systematically oppressed by the American government and is still waiting on the US government to acknowledge its hand in their oppression by forking over from the area of their existence where it really would make sense. Reparations, financially. Only the descendants of former slaves, have been intentionally excluded from the government's restorative process, which attempted to make Japanese Americans whole after prison camp internments during World War II. I'm going to quote Sheila Jackson Lee, who's a United States representative. Reparations, these lips, right? Reparations is about repair. And when you repair the damage that has been done, you do so much to move a society forward. This commission can be a healing process. Telling you the truth, all y'all Caucasian folks, and not just Caucasians, But y'all Caucasian folks who over there talking about no, we want to ban critical race theory. We don't want our kids talking about the past. Forget the past. It already happened. It's over. Shame on you. Shame on you. Whew. Telling the truth can heal America. Y'all talking about y'all believe in God. Don't get me started. Anyway, of course, the idea that African Americans are owed anything at all is something that causes the political heads to become indignant and oftentimes offended. How are they offended? Right. Federal legislation in support of a reparations bill was first introduced by Representative John Conyers Jr., Democrat from Michigan, in 1989. It was named HR 40 in reference to the long lost United States presidential order. This order, which we hear a little bit about here and there, but we don't really know why they say 40 acres and a mule, right? We don't really know, but let me tell you, this order would have helped. This order was to provide some reparations to blacks after the Civil War was signed by it was signed by President Abraham Lincoln. This order would have helped blacks survive and give them some bootstraps to use, right? When attempting to pull themselves up from the bottom, where they were only by design. Right? You always talk about pull yourself up from the bootstraps. We had no bootstraps. We didn't have boots. When they put us out for slavery, they put us out for slavery. And said, y'all want to, oh, I'm sorry, y'all tired of living on the street? Tired of being dirty? You can't wash anything at all on the street, huh? You ain't got no house. They ain't tell us to give you nothing. We're not giving y'all no land. Right. Terrible. And said, yeah, go out there. And now that you're out there, if you want, we need some work that need to get done so we could trade and call it sharecropping. You can stay here, but I'm going to take all your pay. Right. Yep. So basically, you're a slave again. Yep. And I might not be able to whip you legally per se, but if I get a little, tipsy, decide to swing on you, nobody's going to say anything. Yo, you don't have any help. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, this order would have taken land. This order, I'm sorry, it was the HR 40, right? This order would have taken land recently confiscated from the Confederates and given the land to recently freed black people, African Americans. Each would have received 40 acres of land. However, the white men wanted no such action on their behalf. So, before the law could be enforced, President Lincoln was promptly assassinated. White people don't play about their land. The law was removed and the land. White people don't play about that control. And the land was given back to those wonderfully powerful white supremacists. So much for equality and equity. Great milestones have been reached in the way of equality in America in this day and age, right? Compared to back then. As a nation, however, we have a long way to go regarding the way economic policies have shaped the American landscape. Poverty has become so commonplace in the hood among African Americans in this country, right? That old saying the dopest beat. Even though what we do is wrong, right? With Freeway and Beans and Jay-Z, right? Grinding from the bottom, according to Beanie Siegel, right? Grinding from the bottom just to make it to the bottom means that we get it how we live, right? I'm from South Philly. We get it how we live, where we live, at the bottom. Yep, take it right back to the bottom. African Americans in this country are being systematically crucified by a process that is effectively turning black into a permanent underclass. Yep. Shout out to my man Joe Clark. Y'all seen Lean on Me, right? Okay, I hope so. Y'all who educators, I'm an educator. You're an educator. You need to make sure that you watch Lean on Me before you step foot in the classroom first day. Okay. Anyway, whole cultures of music and media have been developed based on the state of the African American counterpart to the Native American reservation, the projects. Low-income housing with strict income qualifications for its residents. That makes it virtually impossible to even make even slightly more income and continue receiving the same level of financial assistance from the federal government. Instead of making sure the losers of the Civil War were made to pay for the atrocities of the slave trade, the perpetrators were covered and recovered in a concerted governmental effort to send a clear message to our people. You are only useful until you are not, Negro. We will only invest in your life as long as it benefits our, white folks saying this, profit margin. What's different today? Think about what that says to us, to African Americans. Why, hello, should Black Lives Matter to white America any more today than they mattered when blacks were sold and herded to the highest bidder only a couple centuries ago? Now, some of y'all feel like, no, it's not that deep, but dragging your feet a long time, and eventually you drag it in the sand, they go under the sand. You drag it long enough, it get heavy enough, it start to push weight, inertia, volume, power, boom, under the sand, right? Why should Black Lives Matter now that they seem to be getting along just fine based on the ones we see in, well, sports and entertainment, right? We run that. One could make a very logical sounding argument about the need to dismiss any notion of the need for reparations. To some, it may seem as if white men have already done more than their fair share by sharing memberships to their elite clubs and social networks with the coloreds. Black people own properties and we own land. Black people can vote for whomever they want. Black people can also run to become an elected official by the majority of the people. They can marry whomever they want to marry, no matter the color or gender. What else do Black people need, us, white folks? What else do Black people need for us to give to them in order for them to let go of this silly idea that we owe them anything, aka reparations? What would you accept? Either as a Native American, or as a Japanese American, or even as a Jewish person dealing with the German government, right? White folks again. That would make you forget the idea of reparations. How many other races have had to wait this long for the United States government to come to terms with the idea that they were, in fact, responsible and terribly wrong for all of their pivotal roles in American slavery, both here and abroad? Responses may vary. In any case, the legal, political, and economic benefits that would come to light once reparations have been established, say what you want, they are long overdue. Yeah, hit the subscribe button. It's going to be a weekly thing so far. Any questions, comments, please feel free to leave them in the chat. I will respond to all of them. Well, some of them. Have a good one.